The rain had started just after sunset. Heavy, relentless. The kind that seemed determined to wash the world clean. Thick sheets of water hammered the cracked asphalt of Hollow Creek Road, blurring the edges of the forest and muffling every sound except the storm. Daniel Harris gripped the steering wheel tighter, squinting through the windshield as his wipers struggled to keep up. He had taken this back road home from his late shift dozens of times. But tonight, the forest felt different. The trees leaned in closer, their branches swaying violently, their shadows stretched unnaturally by the flashes of lightning. His old sedan rattled as the tires cut through standing water. A sign flashed by. Hollow Creek Bridge, 1 mile. And Daniel exhaled. Just a few more minutes and he'd be home, safe and dry. But then he saw it. At the edge of the road stood a figure. It was hard to make out in the storm. Just a pale outline hunched against the rain. Daniel slowed, his headlights illuminating what looked like a young woman in a tattered white dress, her long dark hair plastered to her face. She wasn't wearing shoes. He rolled down the window slightly. "Hey, are you okay?" She didn't answer. She didn't even look up. For a moment, Daniel considered driving on. Every instinct screamed at him to keep going. But the rain was cold and merciless, and she looked so fragile, so broken. Against his better judgment, he pulled over. "Get in," he called out, unlocking the passenger door. "You'll freeze out there." The woman moved slowly, mechanically, like she had forgotten how to walk. She slid into the seat beside him without a word, her wet dress soaking the upholstery. Daniel forced a smile. "Rough night, huh? Where you headed?" Silence. The only sound was the steady drip of water from her hair onto the floor mat. He glanced at her out of the corner of his eye. Her face was pale, almost gray, with eyes too dark to reflect the passing light. She stared straight ahead, unblinking. A chill spread through the car. Daniel cleared his throat. "I'm headed toward Hollow Creek. Is that okay?" Slowly, very slowly, she turned her head toward him. Her lips moved, cracked and bloodless. When she spoke, her voice was so faint he almost missed it. "Don't cross the bridge." Lightning split the sky and thunder boomed so loud the car vibrated. Daniel blinked, shaken. "What do you mean? The bridge is the only way home." Her eyes fixed on his. Something in them made his stomach twist. They weren't the eyes of a normal woman. Too deep, too hollow, like looking into a well that had no bottom. He tried to laugh it off. "You've had a long night. Don't worry, it'll be fine." But she didn't answer. When Daniel reached the bridge, his headlights revealed water rushing violently below. The wooden boards glistened under the storm, slick and unstable. He hesitated. Maybe she was right. Maybe it wasn't safe. He turned to ask her again, but the seat beside him was empty. His heart jolted. Water still pooled where she had sat, dripping into the floor mat. But she was gone. No sound, no movement. Lightning flashed again. In that split-second glow, he saw her, standing in the middle of the bridge. Her head was tilted at an unnatural angle, her dress whipping around in the wind. Daniel's throat went dry. What the hell? Before he could react, the engine sputtered and died. The lights flickered out, plunging him into darkness. The rain pounded harder, drowning out everything else. He tried the ignition again. Nothing. Then came the tapping. Soft at first, against the driver's side window. Tap, tap, tap. Daniel froze. Slowly he turned his head. A pale hand pressed against the glass. Long, bony fingers, the nails sharp and broken. Behind the hand was her face, inches away, smiling now, a wide, jagged grin that didn't belong to anything human. His breath caught. She mouthed something he couldn't hear over the rain. Then she vanished. Daniel scrambled out of the car, the storm drenching him instantly. He staggered onto the bridge, searching frantically. "Where are you?" The wind roared, carrying whispers through the trees. Words he couldn't quite understand, but they pulled him forward. His shoes slipped on the wet boards as he crossed. Halfway across, he saw her again. She stood at the far end, arms outstretched, her eyes glowing faintly in the darkness. Beneath her, the boards creaked and groaned, as though the bridge itself were straining against her presence. "Don't cross," she whispered again, though her lips didn't move. Daniel's pulse thundered in his ears. "What do you want from me?" Her grin widened. The air around her warped, the rain falling slower, heavier, as though time itself were bending. Her voice echoed inside his skull. "They never listen." The boards beneath him splintered. Daniel's stomach dropped as the wood gave way, plunging him into the raging water below. The current dragged him under, icy and merciless. He fought to surface, gasping for air, but the river pulled him deeper. His lungs burned. Something brushed against his leg. Fingers curling tight around his ankle. He kicked and screamed, but the hand was unrelenting, pulling him into the black. And just before the water swallowed him whole, he saw her face again, calm, smiling, watching from beneath the surface. When rescuers found Daniel's car the next morning, it sat abandoned in the middle of Hollow Creek Bridge. Driver's door hanging open. The engine was intact. No sign of damage. But Daniel Harris was never seen again. Some say his ghost still drives that road on stormy nights. Headlights cutting through the downpour. And sometimes, if you're unlucky enough to pass the Hollow Creek Bridge in the rain, you might see her too. The woman in white, waiting. And if she gets in your car, whatever you do, don't cross the bridge.